You ever have one of those days where you think you're finally breaking free, starting over just to get hit with a sucker punch so hard it rattles your teeth? Yeah, that was me. Just a regular guy who spent too many years buried in government paperwork, tracing fault lines and digital maps, eyes fried from a career I'd stopped caring about. All I wanted was peace, something real, something I could actually touch. So when my Uncle Jack passed and left me his 12-acre plot just outside Fort Collins, Colorado, I thought, man, this is it. This is my shot at a new life, growing tomatoes and building fences instead of building someone else's database. But let me tell you, nothing about what happened next was simple, and nothing could have prepared me for the war that was waiting up that old access road. First thing I see pulling up in my rattly old Ford wasn't peace or the smell of pine like I remembered as a kid. No, it was bulldozers tearing up the land and a giant shiny sign whipping in the wind. Pine Ridge Estates, live in harmony with nature. The nerve of these people advertising harmony while pouring concrete right over Uncle Jack's favorite fishing spot like it was theirs by birthright. My hands were shaking on the wheel, part rage, part disbelief. You ever see something so wrong it makes your head go hot? I double-checked the GPS, the deed, the stack of papers from probate, but no, this was my land. So I hopped out, boots sinking into the dust, flagged down the first hard hat I could find. "Hey, pal, you got the wrong spot. This is private property, my property." He just shrugged, didn't even look up from his gadgets. "Construction site. Talk to the boss if you got complaints." So I stomp over to this trailer they've set up, knock like I'm the sheriff, and out comes this kid in a collared shirt, looking like he's never sweat a day in his life. "You must be Alex Harland," he says, grinning like he's selling me a used car. Records show this parcel was sold off months ago to Pine Ridge Development. Sold by who? I snap, already feeling my blood start to boil. He flips a page on his clipboard, casual as can be. Power of attorney, signed by Walter Harland. That hit me like a truck. There's no Walter in my family. Uncle Jack had no siblings left, no kids, just me. And the man was barely able to write his own name at the end, much less sign away the family land to some made-up relative. But this guy just shrugs it off. If you've got a problem, take it up with legal. Permits are in order. Septic lines start next week. Yeah, that happened. I took pictures, snapshots of every bogus document they shoved in my face. The signature was so wrong, even a blind squirrel could tell it was forged. Notarized by some name I didn't recognize from a county I'd never heard of. And in that moment I knew it wasn't a mix-up or some clerical mistake. It was theft, plain and simple, and my gut told me it had the stink of HOA politics all over it. Folks like that, they don't play fair. They wait until someone's too sick or too tired to fight back, then they swoop in and steal you blind. That night, I parked my truck right at the edge of the property line, kept the headlights off, and just watched their floodlights carve up the dark, my land. Uncle Jack's land getting chewed up piece by piece. You know what I mean. Fury kept me warm, that and a thermos of coffee, as I made up my mind. There was no way I was letting them steamroll over Jack's legacy, not for some plastic suburb with fake lakes and neighbors spying through the curtains. Next morning, just as the sun burned off the last bit of mist, their project lead rolled up, Brad Sutton, all designer khakis and toothy grin, Bluetooth in one ear like he's running Wall Street instead of a dirt lot. "Heard you had some questions, Mr. Harland," he says, way too cheerful for a guy trespassing on someone else's land. "You're building on ground you don't own," I told him, staring straight at those slick sunglasses. "Show me the proof. Show me how a dead man sold you his land." His face barely twitched. "Not stolen, just acquired. PAs and order signature checks out. And we've already invested big here." He kept talking about community and growth, but all I saw was a con, just greed dressed up as progress, hoping I'd roll over and let it happen. But I'm stubborn and I don't scare easy, so I drove straight to the county offices, pulled every file, every transfer, every backroom deal I could find. That's when I saw it, a fraudulent transfer logged right in the middle of probate, tied to a fake trust called Summit View Holdings. The notary Emily Hargrove just so happened to be related to Lisa Hargrove, the HOA queen bee of Pine Ridge. And suddenly, it all clicked. These people had a system prey on the old, the sick, the folks who don't have anyone left to fight for them, then forge the paperwork and snatch the land right out from under them. I got myself a lawyer, Sarah Clean, a real pit bull. Someone who'd taken down more than one shady developer. She heard my story and just shook her head. Classic scam, she said they count on most folks giving up. We filed for an emergency injunction, and for once the judge moved fast, froze everything on the spot, ordered a halt to all construction until things got sorted. You should have seen Brad's face in court, all the swagger leaking out as Sarah shredded their phony documents. Judge wasn't having any of it. Work stops now, or you'll be held in contempt. By sunset, the bulldozers were gone, their fancy banner tossed in the ditch, and for about 10 minutes I thought that was the end of it. But see, when you back a snake into a corner, it bites back harder. Suddenly I'm getting blasted in community newsletters painted as some greedy outsider blocking affordable housing, lying about illegal operations, stirring up trouble for honest folks. It stung, not gonna lie. Got so bad I started second-guessing if all this was worth it. But then I remembered all the times Uncle Jack cussed out those HOA busybodies, always sticking their nose where it didn't belong, always lining their pockets at someone else's expense. A few days later, 3 guys in reflective vests showed up waving clipboards, tried to write me up for overgrowth, hazardous conditions, you name it, pretending to be city inspectors when they were just HOA goons trying to bully me off the land. I stood my ground, flashed the court order, and told them to get lost. They left behind violation notices anyway, pure intimidation, bold as brass. The more I dug, the more I found out Lisa Hargrove had lost her own family's land years ago to a developer, and ever since she'd been hell-bent on building her own little empire using every dirty trick in the book. It got so bad I had to put up trail cam's motion sensors, even caught some vandals yanking down my no trespassing signs in the dead of night. Sheriff finally got involved, but even then you could tell this was personal, not business. That's when I hired a PI, Mike Torres, ex-cop, with a nose for corruption. Mike dug up records on 4 other land grabs, all notarized by Emily, all tied back to Lisa and her little circle of trust. People too tired or too poor to fight their land funneled straight into Pine Ridge through fake companies and shell games. We took it all to court, emails, bank statements, notary logs, you name it. Emily cracked under oath, sobbing about just trying to help Mom speed things up for the community. Lisa just sat there stone-faced, but the judge was done playing. This isn't development, he said, it's predation. Fraud, conspiracy, racketeering, the charges stacked up faster than the lies. And when the dust settled, Lisa and Emily were cuffed, Brad lost his license, and Pine Ridge development was finished. I got my land back. The judge voided every dirty deed and transfer, and I hammered up my own sign, private property, no HOA, trespassers prosecuted. I stood there as the sun went down, thinking I'd finally won. But the truth is, there's always another snake waiting in the grass. One of Brad's old crew came by one night, handed me a thumb drive full of emails, proof it went higher, county officials on the take, kickbacks in every corner. That's how deep it goes, you know. Sure, justice got served. Lisa got 12 years, Emily 7, Brad 9+ restitution. But how many more HOAs are out there running the same play, hiding behind community values while they rob folks blind? I still wonder if fighting back just made me a bigger target, or if maybe telling stories like this is what finally shakes things up. So what do you think? Am I the villain for holding my ground, or is justice finally catching up with these HOA crooks? Ever had your own land war or seen neighbors get steamrolled by a so-called community? Drop your story in the comments, hit. Like if you've ever tangled with an HOA, and subscribe if you want to hear more real talk, because honestly, the next big reveal might just be your story.